But we do have a packed agenda for today, so thank you so much again for joining us for the third day of the Safe Speeds webinar. Before we go into the very technical part of how to actually support safe speed limits, I wanted to just very briefly mention a bit about how to actually select road safety interventions in relation to speed management. So one of the guides that the World Bank has prepared for my team from the Global Road Safety Facility, my ex-team actually, is a guide on what works and what does not work in road safety. And it's a really interesting document. You can find it online. It's already translated. It's available in English, but also in Spanish, Portuguese, and French. And you can find here the latest research, the latest evidence of what actually works in road safety and what does not work. So you can easily download it. And why did we develop this guide? The main reason is that we know that road safety funding is limited, right? We know that as much as we want to have safe roads, sometimes we just don't have enough budget. So it's really important to ensure that whenever we invest in road safety, the investments that are chosen, the interventions that are chosen are cost effective. They work. They do actually have a positive impact on reducing road crash fatalities and serious injuries. And they are not necessarily based on common sense, but they are backed by research. We know that they are proven to help improve road safety. And it's really important also, as I mentioned, to have all the evidence together and channelize and have a better idea on what is the impact we can expect by just implementing one or two measures or a set of measures. And this guide is very easy also to access, to visualize, to use. So it has interventions presented across the pillars, the road safety pillars, and of course it also has one dedicated section for speed management. Since as we've been talking over the past webinars, speed management is one of the main contributing factors to road crash fatality and severity. So there is a dedicated section for speed management where you can find tables with the type of intervention for speed management, the description of the intervention, and also the efficiency of the intervention. So actually explaining, as I mentioned, what works and what does not work. And we have, as I mentioned, different interventions, and the way that these measures are supposed to be to be selected. It's the main factor is based on the potential to reduce fatalities and serious injuries, but we know that cost is also an important aspect. So there is an analysis on the cost-benefit impact, the cost-benefit analysis for each measure. And in addition, it's also very important, and it provides some really good case studies and explanations on, for example, compatibility. For example, the impact of a specific measure even beyond the road safety impact, and also looking into the overall impact of health and public health for all road users. At the same time, a very important criteria for a road safety intervention, speed management intervention, is also on acceptability and how well road users or residents in that area where the intervention is being implemented is aware of the intervention, on how to use the road and how will they accept it. So again, we have different examples and ways of presenting a specific intervention that might not be initially accepted by the public, but with the right communication tools and explanations, it can actually improve the acceptance and use by road users. At the same time, also, it's really important in specific countries to have the knowledge on the ground for consultants, for contractors to understand the intervention and be able to implement it, to install it properly and in good practice, because we know that, for example, crash barrier saves life. But at the same time, if a barrier is not installed properly, or if it's not following the best practices, then it might actually become a hazard and put people's lives in danger. At the same time, this is also in line with legal conformity, or to be in accordance with standard and best practices, and also political and institutional acceptance. In many countries we've worked at, there is always this pushback. For example, for a new intervention that we know has been used in many countries and has given a good impact, a good result, whenever we try to implement a suggested, like raised pedestrian crossings, for example, for which in many countries maybe there is no national standard on how to design and build a raised pedestrian crossing. So that's something that it needs to go through, again, political acceptation, but also from an institutional perspective. And the guide also provides this guide, and also our guide, the guide for safe speeds, provides some good examples on how to actually come up with new solutions that have not yet been implemented in a country, and they can actually give a good result and maybe even push to the update of standards in a country. In terms of what works, and I'm not going to get into details because we do have, for the rest of the day, we do have a lot of detailed presentations on specific interventions for speed management. But just to mention them, just setting safe speed limits with the right signalization, that's already a good intervention, and also focusing on school zone areas, and also having traffic calming measures and roundabouts. These are some of the interventions that we know that they give very good results. And also, for example, for rural highways, it's called the tratamientos de acceso o transición, the transit areas from interurban to urban areas, built-up areas, and have that transit area where there is a clear message sent to all road users that they are entering to a new space, a new type of road environment. So making sure that the communication is proper and all road users are aware on how the road should be used. What does not work, and this is again something that the guide presents, because as I mentioned, it's really important, given limited resources, to make sure that those are invested into what really works. So one of the most dangerous intervention that we saw, and we have case studies presented in the guide, is coming with providing a road rehabilitation or surfacing whenever we have a road that maybe is in bad condition, especially from on the surface of the road, and then coming up just with a improvement of the road surface without any additional interventions, any road safety intervention. That is one of the most dangerous intervention possible, because the moment that the road surface is being improved, that's a moment when speeds are going to go very high. We're actually helping build a runway, and that's when usually more people will start dying, because just having a good road surface without any communication to the drivers on how the road should be used, especially in rural highways, especially where we have vulnerable road users, it can be extremely dangerous for all the road users. So that's something we definitely recommend that is not being done, to just implement the surface, to improve the surface without any additional road safety interventions to manage speed. And I will just end with this table, which I think it's really important. It's called superstars of this guide, which lead to an improvement of at least 30% in road crash fatalities and serious injuries. So you have different pillars, also going from road users, vehicles, but in terms of speed management, as I mentioned, roundabouts, raised crossings, lowering speed limits, and also like speed limits in school areas for not more than 30 kilometers per hour, and enforcement. So just to close my presentation and letting you with the rest of the speakers for more information, for more detailed information, please check out the guide. Some road safety interventions, speed management, they do not necessarily work and they will not give the right results. So please, whenever you are considering implementing a road safety intervention, speed management intervention, look into what actually works, look into the evidence and not on common sense. Because we know that there are interventions that provide a high benefit with moderated costs. And it's extremely important also to look at the broader safe system approach and across all the pillars. Thank you so much for your attention, and I'll hand it over to you back, Stephanie. Thank you.